betting scandal.
Yes, dude. So this morning we got the report that the Padres infielder Tucupita Marcano, or it should be like Tucupita Marcano. He was betting on his self. So for the Padres, he also played for the Pirates. Nick, out of 231 bets that he placed, guess the percentage that he won.
231 bets he placed.
Correct. That they were able to track.
Percentage?
Yeah.
I feel like it's low. It's definitely not over 50. I'm going to go
if it was over 50.
37%.
Nick, he was a 4.3% better, meaning he only won 4.3% of the bets out of the 230 whatever he put in. Is it? I mean, so a lot of the comments...
He's the worst bettor of all time.
Bro, a lot of the comments were reading like, we're going to ban this dude, but the MLB presented by DraftKings, like he was making DraftKings money. So he was helping the sponsors. He's helping the Major League Baseball when they need to re-up for the next contract. That's what he was doing. And yet they give him a lifetime ban.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is the second athlete that we know of in major American sports to receive a lifetime ban because of sports betting. We are a sports betting show. Everyone knows this. It's been the one thing I've been the most passionate about probably my whole life. I've always been, I guess, a quote unquote activist. I'm pro betting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pro wrestling.
Yes.
I'm pro gambling. And I always felt very passionate about what I'm going to say. When sports betting got legalized in states outside of Nevada, what people were saying was the integrity of the game is going to be jeopardized. And my counter, because it was a new space, it was a new field, it's always been the sports books to sniff shit like this out to protect the integrity of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona State basketball, there's an amazing 30 for 30 called Bad Sport on Netflix. Sorry, it wasn't a 30 for 30. Bad Sport on Netflix. It was the sports books being like, bro, we get a massive influx of kids betting on Arizona State to not cover the games. What is happening over there?
Yeah.
And then you start looking at these guys, Headache Smith, the point guard, is missing free throws in the first half, but then you see like a lot of sketchy shit. It was the sports books that sniffed this out. It was the sports books that sniffed out Tim Donaghy. It was the sports books that sniffed out Hawaii football, Boston College in the 70s or 80s, whenever that was. What I'm saying is the integrity of the sport is protected by the casinos and the sports books because they don't want you to win.
No.
All this fancy shit that we're sitting in and everywhere where you walk on the Las Vegas Strip, it's not because people are winners. It's because people are losers.
100%.
And it's the casinos and the sports books that go, hey, man, this dude on the Padres is betting on baseball. Look into that. Bam, lifetime ban. MLB, I looked up their rules and regulations. In the contracts, it's, if you get caught betting on baseball, you're out. Like, it's not, they rather you do PEDs, you'll get a year suspension or the 3-strike rule as opposed to betting.
Yeah. Bro, I'll do you one better. And it's horrible for me to say this. They'd rather you beat your wife than bet on baseball because there has been players that have done exactly what I just said, committed domestic violence, and they're still playing.
I know it's a crazy thing that you let off with, but to your point, they've given dudes that have domestic violence cases 30 games and then they come back. But if you put a $25 parlay like this guy said, that's the thing. It's like, what's the precedent here?
Yep.
It's the same. Dude, the NFL was the same thing. You know when Ray Rice got in trouble for everything he got in trouble with?
Yeah.
It all started because it leaked that Roger Goodell saw the video and he said, 2 games, right? But it was kept private. But then when the video leaks from TMZ or wherever the hell it leaked from and people saw, holy shit, what he just did to that woman in the elevator, how can Roger Goodell watch this video and then give him a 2-game suspension? That's why they came back and they said, bro, you're out the league for the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. And to your point, based on precedent, they rather you cheat, use PEDs, they rather you have domestic violence cases, they rather you have DUIs, all this shit, than you bet.
It's nuts. And I was telling Wayne before he left, there's a player in some professional sport right now, Nick, that is putting in bets, ignoring the signs, right? Ignoring all these fucking headlines. I certainly won't get caught. There will be another player in the next 3 months. Think about it. 90 days from now, there will be another professional athlete that gets hit from this.
Bro, hold on. We had Jonte Porter.
Yep.
Right? Raptors. You're not much of a soccer fan, but Paquette, he plays for West Ham in the Premier League, plays for the national team for Brazil. He just got charged by the English Football Association for breaching its betting rules. Former Alabama head coach of the baseball team was fired after a friend of his tried to make a $100,000 bet on the team. NFL, back to your point before we were saying about domestic violence, they'll give a player a 2-game suspension for domestic violence, but they'll give him sometimes a longer suspension. Like, what was a rookie on Jameson Williams? They gave him a 6-game suspension for betting. Mm-hmm. It's like, bro, what is... No, it's crazy because it's the bottom line.
Yeah. And hear me out, right? I don't know about the soccer player. Was he a really good soccer player?
Oh, he plays on the Brazilian national team. He started at the last World Cup.
I was trying to think of like an analogy in which they're kind of just pinpointing the players that don't necessarily matter. Let's not forget Shohei Ohtani at the beginning of the year was under a fucking microscope.
Yeah.
With the way that, my interpreter putting in bets for me, 10, 12 home runs later, Shohei's leading in every category. We're just going to forget about that. But Tupica Marcano, bye-bye.
And here's the last thing that I'll say too about this. And we'll dedicate an episode over the coming weeks about this stuff. And I have some people in mind I want to discuss this conversation with. If you are a professional athlete and you're willing to jeopardize your future, we were breaking down the Jonte Porter stuff. Like, bro, if you're on the veterans minimum cheap plug and you play 10 years in the league, you're probably going to make about $25, $30 million.
Yep.
And you're jeopardizing that for a couple $1,000s. That to me, bro, as someone that used to have an addiction to gambling, it's an addiction.
Yeah.
They're not thinking right. It's on their phone. It's so easily accessible. Hell, everything is brought to you by DraftKings, brought to you by FanDuel. Welcome to the BetMGM club here at the Yankee Stadium. Like all the shit, it's around them. And now it's even more accessible. Where in the past, it would be like, bro, George is the quarterback for UNLV. He's always at the sports book. What's going on? Now George could grab his girlfriend's phone and well, let's take the points here.
Yep.
It's only going to get worse. The accessibility, it's going to get worse. But if you're a professional athlete and you're jeopardizing like the Ohtani stuff, which everything points to it actually being his interpreter, which I was wrong at the time. I was like, this kind of seems sus.
He's doing it.
It seems like he's going to be the fall guy. But it's an addiction, bro. It's an addiction. And it was around this time last year when I put out that video that my worst addiction in my life was gambling. And until I started creating content and I ventured into this space where I got the same fix telling people to bet on the Eagles -4 and it hitting than it would be for me hitting a $100 bet. And that was the thing that that video went crazy on some of the social medias. And it's a real thing. And I think these athletes have that addiction to gambling, which is why they're willing to jeopardize millions of dollars and their careers. Bro, you get a lifetime. It's a wrap for you, bro.
Yeah.
Pete Rose still ain't in the Hall of Fame because he bet. They don't fuck around with that shit. And the fact that you're willing to jeopardize all of that for $150,000 that you bet, $87,000 on Major League Baseball games, 25 of the 231 bets involved the Pirates, the team he was on at the time. And he was on the injury list. He didn't play the end of that season while he was recovering. But the majority of Marcano's bets were placed while he was injured. You can't bet on your sport. And it's also been something that I've said in the past too. If you're in the MLB and you're in Vegas for the Super Bowl, it's your offseason, and you want to take the Chiefs -3, by all means, bro. I don't think you should get in trouble for that. If Devin Booker comes to Vegas next week and he wants to bet on the NBA. I think that's a little sketchy. I wouldn't be cool with that because you know the sports. You've talked to athletes. They know this shit. I've told the story about Will Blackman. We're in his suite here at the Wynn when we were recording Upsets and Underdogs, the show we used to do together. And like, bro, he named 4 straight plays in a row. It's like they know more than all of us do because they were in the trenches.
Yep.
So I have a problem with you betting on your sport, and you shouldn't. I'm super against that. But if you're a dude in the NFL, it's the offseason, you're in Vegas, it's May, and you want to bet on the NBA Finals or the playoffs, you shouldn't get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I draw the line. But this guy was betting on his sport.
Yeah, and I mean, like, bro, just do what Pete Rose did and fall in love with the horses. You know what I mean? You are never going to go wrong betting those horses. It's 2 separate things. You know, I just figured this out when I tried to bet the Kentucky Derby this year. You need a horse racing account, not just a sportsbook account.
Yeah.
Fall in love with that. Get addicted to that. I mean, it's probably just as fun, I would imagine, if you're betting that amount of money. I'm telling you, Nick, as we're recording this right now, there is a professional athlete putting a bet in, and we're going to find out about it soon enough. And then how many more do we see? I mean, the number just steadily increases every single year. I've mentioned it on this show before, and I still need to come out with a video at how we can make this happen. It's got to be some way to put it into the contract. There's got to be a way. You know, like if we are a association where our main presenting sponsor is a sports betting site, why can't I work it into my contract to have, whenever we're playing, give me money line betting on myself? And then you have a certain amount of dollars, whether it be 100,000, 200,000, that you're allotted to bet over a season.
It's interesting, man, because I'm also kind of in favor if you do bet on yourself. Like we had this discussion with Ryan Garcia, right? Came out that Ryan Garcia had bet on himself. There's no like real governing body in boxing and in combat sports. There is, like, you have the UFC, but there's been many fighters in the past that have bet on themselves and then they end up losing. So they'll put their purse up. So it's allowed there. And like we said on a prior podcast, if you guys don't remember, go and check that out again, how it's the commissions. Some commissions allow that. And it's because it's combat sports, it's a little different. But with team sports, if you're betting in favor of your team winning, I still don't like it. Truthfully, I still don't like it if this guy is betting on the Padres to win. I think you shouldn't bet on your own sport. In baseball, you're not allowed to bet at all. Yeah. And in some sports, you're not allowed to bet at all. But yo, you're right, bro. Dude, we said it when Ohtani first happened. Like, it's going to be happening every couple months. There's going to be, because even if I'm a pro athlete and I'm having you bet under the table for me, one disagreement we have, one fallout we have, you're like, yo, bro, I'm going to need $100K to keep my mouth shut. Well, I'm not paying you. Well, hey, Buster Only, come here. or come over here, whoever. Cam and Mace.
Couldn't name another MLB guy.
I couldn't name another.
Buster Only was good, though.
Buster Only was good. That was off the top.
That was
there.
good.
That was good. What's the other guy? Jeff Passan?
There we go.
There we go. I got two. But that's what happens, bro. Like I always say, it be your own.
Yeah.
It's your own people.
Oh, man. These guys are idiots.
Yeah.
Have fun playing in Mexico.
It's going to, yeah. They're going to have to go to another league. Yep. They're allowed to play baseball, just not in the MLB. So that's it for today's episode.
Hold on.
What up?
I know this is a big soccer podcast. One of the clips that you made a while back with talking about your favorite sports moment still blows up my phone to this day. Glad I collaborated on that one. But in soccer news, Mbappe, Real Madrid. I'm not a soccer guy, so what is the equivalent to this in other sports, like NFL or NBA?
Is a great question. It did dominate headlines in the sports world. It led Sports Center the other night, which was crazy. So, little backstory: Real Madrid just won the Champions League. We bet on that too, plus 600. You know, like I said, George, no one likes to pat themselves on the back more than I do. But Real Madrid wins on Saturday. Then Monday they sign Kylian Mbappe from PSG, and they basically get him for free. That's a whole different conversation. The equivalent, and I'm going to give a shout out to my buddy Rick. He said, imagine if the Chiefs, who just went back-to-back, 2 days after the Super Bowl, signed Justin Jefferson. And for free.
Ugh.
That would be, and I told him, I reposted, I was like, bro, I'm so jealous of this take because it's perfect. Because that's exactly what it would be like, right? It would be, you know, in basketball news, imagine if the Celtics, right? Because I would say Real Madrid and the Celtics, like the Celtics are stacked, like we were talking about before.
The history, though.
And the history, too. The history of it. Say they go on and they beat the Mavericks, and then, all right, say it goes 7, June 23rd, the finals end, right? June 26th, they sign Jokic. That's what it would be. Yeah. No trade.
Nuts, dude.
We keep KP, Drew, Tatum, Brown, Porzingis. I said KP. Horford, and now we're adding Jokic for free. That's the equivalent that it would be.
So, me being a layman, how do they do something like this? Like, is it his contract is so in distributed
soccer,
in a way?
In soccer, there's no salary cap.
Beautiful. We love that.
It's amazing. What does happen is when a player is under contract, there's a thing called a transfer fee. So say I'm Real Madrid and you're PSG. This was 2 years ago. Real Madrid would have had to pay 200 million euros to buy the rights to Mbappe's contract. That's usually how it goes. However, his contract expired. PSG got dick, and he went to Real Madrid for free in the sense of Real Madrid didn't have to pay the team to acquire his contract. What they're doing now is, I don't know what the logistics are of his contract, but he goes there. There's no salary cap. It's the wild, wild west in soccer. And then that's also why you see teams like Man City, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich's of the world, like the wealthy clubs.
They always stay good.
They always stay good. So then when you have a Borussia Dortmund, who just went to the Champions League final, they're known for being the complete opposite. They develop players and then they sell them. Jude Bellingham just won the Champions League with Real Madrid, 20 years old. He was on Borussia last couple of years. And that's how some of the smaller clubs in Europe do.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's monumental, bro. Like, again, Justin Jefferson going to the Chiefs after they go back-to-back, and then imagine if the Celtics win the title, and then 3 days later, after the parade, after all the sunshine and rainbows go away, we're in the offseason, Jokic just goes to Boston for free. That's what it would be equivalent like.
The Dodgers just did it in baseball.
Dodgers, no salary cap.
And they just got Shohei. So,
yeah.
I get it, though. All right, thanks for breaking it down.
Nah, thank you for asking, man.
Soccer.
It's going to be, listen, this is going to be heavy. We got Copa America and Euro Cup. We always crush. We crushed the World Cup. We gave 9-1 odds on Argentina. You referenced the clip of my favorite sporting event of all time. Sports moment was Argentina versus France. France is going to be playing in the Euro Cup. Argentina is going to be playing in Copa America. So it's going to be a banger of a summer, man. Because then that's going to end around July 15-ish.
Yeah.
July 16th. And then, a couple weeks later, it's training camp, and then we're in football season.
Yes,
so
sir.
It's going to be a fun summer. All things Veterans Minimum are at Veterans Minimum. At Nick Day is 10 as you can find me. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for following where you need to follow. Subscribe where you need to subscribe. Leave a comment, rate, review. We're pumping out more and more content. I'm excited for what's to come for the show. And again, the absolute best cosign is you listening and telling people and sharing the stuff, sharing the posts, sharing the clips, and sharing the podcast to your friends, family, girlfriend, uncle, boyfriend, cousins, all that. Tables, ladders, and chairs, all mine. So, yeah, thank you all for the support. George, where can they find you?
The time that I would spend talking about myself, I'm going to tell all your viewers, go to Patreon, pay the $5. If you are a person who gives money to homeless people on the side of the road and you're still not a Patreon member, I mean, we feel some type of way about you, $5. $5 with the potential of hitting all these bets that Nick is talking about. Do that. It's way better than following me. That's it.
Oh, big love. I'm going to have to pay for dinner for that then. I know something's coming. But we'll catch you guys next time. In his element,
I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be killed.